Hey guys, the Bobrovsky guy here, and in this video I'm going to be showing you guys a bunch of different options for treats for your hamsters, for your dwarf hamsters, for any type of hamster. I've got a ton of different options here that we're going to look at. I'll show you what I like, I'll show you what I don't like, and I'll give you a couple tips and helpful pieces of information on how to feed these to your hamsters. So let's get started. So first off, we're going to be looking at milk bones, and basically what milk bones are they little tiny dog treats that are pretty much meant for dogs but work really well for any type of hamster. They're really good for keeping the teeth down, and they like to gnaw on these as well. They don't really have any sugar in them or anything. They're just kind of like little tiny dog biscuits that you can feed to any type of hamster as well. These are the mini size, so they are definitely small. It's about an inch size, so comparing to the pinky finger of mine, you can see it's just about the first segment of it. So these are the mini size. You can also get them in a ton of different other sizes, like medium and large, depending on if you have a Syrian hamster. I like to feed these to my Robos about every 5 or 6 days. I'll put in a couple of these in their bin, and then we'll see just kind of how they gnaw them. Sometimes they like to just take a whole bite out of them and, just devour these over, but sometimes they won't really touch them all that much. So just kind of depending on how your hamster feels, I like to put in a couple of these every 5 or 6 days. Also, you may want to note that they also sell flavored types, which I really recommend you stay away from because some of them can have really strong ingredients in them like garlic and butter, so you make sure that you don't want to look at any of the flavoring kinds. So next we have some apple orchard sticks by Super Pet. Basically, if you own a hamster, you pretty much have one of these always on hand for gnawing on the teeth. They're just kind of little wooden little pieces that you can just pop into the cage and they'll just kind of gnaw on them. I like to put in a couple of these every few weeks and just kind of see how well my Robos go on them. Sometimes they don't really touch them. They're not really big fans of these, but I like to put them in there just to make sure that they have something to gnaw on if they don't really feel like using the milk bones. So this will run you about a couple dollars at really any other pet store. They're really cheap and they're really good for wearing the teeth down as well. So definitely recommend you have always a couple of these on hand so you can pop into the cage. So next we have these KT Fiesta Healthy Toppings, which are pretty much one of the better type of KT treats that are on the market. This one's the papaya droppings, and they're really small and they're really good for any type of hamster, and you might want to make sure that you feed these on moderation, especially if you have a dwarf hamster that is prone to diabetes. You probably might even want to avoid these as well, but if you have a Syrian or a Robo, it's a really good treat to give them every once in a while. I like to give a couple of these every few days or so, and they really seem to enjoy them. There's no added sugars, pretty good in fiber as well, so if you need something to make sure they have good fiber, and also check out these. These are running about $2 to $4 in PetSmart and Petco, so they're really good. I definitely recommend these for the. So next up we have these Ecotrition croissants. Basically these are pretty good for like a one-time treat for a week. I like to pop in one of these every week or so. I like to hide them inside the bin and they can try and find it through the bedding, since I have Robos and since they are really good for scavenging food and such. So I like to put in about one of these every single week or so and see how they like them. But basically they're not too bad in ingredients. They have about 6% fat in them, which isn't too bad. Pretty good amount of protein, and it's not too bad to feed these about once a week. Here it says feed 1 to 2 treats daily, which I definitely don't recommend, because if you look at some of the ingredients, it does have some dried egg, also dried milk, so you don't want to be feeding those types of stuff every single day to your hamster. So definitely make sure you moderate these. I like to put these in, like I said, for about one or two of them per week, and see how they like them. But this will run you about $2 to $3 at your local store. Make sure you check these out also if you're looking for a good treat. So next up we have these KT Fortidiet Pro Health Honey Treats. These are pretty much the only ones that my Robos like. I've experimented with some other brands, with Vitacraft and Supreme, but they don't really seem to enjoy any other ones besides these honey treats. They're coming in little fortified little blocks here that you can pop into the bin. I like to give about half of this every single week, and they'll just kind of take a few nibbles at them, and it's obviously really hard, so it's another good thing for trying to wear down the teeth as well. So if you don't want to have all these different options, this one will probably be one of the more cheaper ones since it's not too expensive. This will be looking at the $3 to $4 area, somewhere like the milk bones are. So if you do need some other treats for gnawing the teeth down, these are really well. They've got some good things in here like sunflower seeds and millets and a bunch of other stuff that are pretty good for your hamster as well. So, but make sure not to give too much of these as well, because it does have honey glazed over them. So obviously you want to have these in moderation as well. So next up we have some millet sprays here. I like to always have these because my Robos are a big fan of millet sprays. So usually about every other day I'll pop in like 1 to 2 of these pieces and I'll hide them around the habitat and they'll try to find them. And at one point or another you'll find the little shells that are with all the seeds that are taken off of them sometime or another in the cage. So I really like to put these in. This is really also, this bag is actually really cheap too. You can get this for about $3 at PetSmart and you get a lot of them in here as well. So also make sure you want to moderate these like all the other treats. You don't want to be treating these treats as a once a day thing. You might want to do every other day, and some, of course, like I mentioned, you might not want to feed all as much like the croissants. So definitely make sure you moderate everything that I'm showing you in this video as well. So that's the millet sprays. And last but not least, we have the All Living Things Yummy Drop Treats, or the Yogurt Drop Treats. Basically, a disclaimer notice here. I just kind of want to let you guys know that yogurt drops are probably not the best type of treat out there since they are really high in fat and sugar. So definitely make sure you feed these maybe about half of these little pieces to your hamster per week, because these can be very detrimental to your hamster, especially if you have a dwarf that are prone to diabetes. So if you do want to look at the treats or the yogurt drops, definitely make sure you have about half of these sliced and then put them in the cage for about a week or so. Definitely do not put too many of these because, of course, like I said, they're really high in fat. We got about 20%. All Living Things is pretty much one of the better brands of keeping the fat lowered. Sometimes some of the yogurt drops will go up to like 25% fat minimum. So definitely, if you're looking for a lowered fat, 20% is probably a good mark. But again, only want to feed about half of these pieces a week. Definitely, because of course the high fat, like I mentioned. So I can't really stress that enough. But I see a lot of people feeding them about 2 to 3 of these per day, and it's just not going to help at all. It's just going to make it worse for the hamster, especially if you got a dwarf, like I said. But for Robos, I like to put in about half of these for a week. And then, so thanks for watching the video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. I'm going to have tons of more stuff up for you guys as well. So if you like the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, leave a rating. And if you could, a subscription would be great. You can subscribe right up there, and you can be notified for my newer videos. So thanks, guys, for watching, and I will see you in the next video.